Welcome to our Fashion Archive. Today is the 12th of January 2026, and we're shooting our first documentary film with our first local project out here in Vancouver, BC. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you feeling about today?
I'm good. I was honestly a little bit nervous earlier, but I feel like my nerves are like lowering down, and I'm like ready for this.
That's nice. We'd love for you to tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, for starters, my name is Shania. I'm a young creative in Vancouver. I'm 22, and actually my birthday is in a few weeks, and I'll be turning 23. Yeah, I've lived in Vancouver all my life, and I think throughout the years of living here, I've just been really infatuated with like the art and the lifestyle here, and that's what has led me to kind of create Hillsgarments.
Do you have any hobbies? How would you say you enjoy spending your free time?
I feel like for my hobbies, I'm honestly all about like creating. So I do a lot of social media content, which is my outlook. I feel like for making, um, like my outlook, I feel like is making like videos. So I do a lot of like fashion videos, as well as I like sustainability in fashion. So I thrift a lot and I like to like flip clothes. I also feel like traveling is a big hobby of mine as well. And just like spending time with my friends. Yeah, I feel like that's the main one for me. Spending time with my friends and just doing things with them. Yeah.
What kind of music have you been listening to lately? Who's your favorite artist, and do you have a favorite album at the moment?
I feel like my music taste actually flows differently with the seasons. So right now, I feel like I'm kind of into my more like alternative R&B, slower musics. But a thing for me is I always get infatuated with like three songs at a time. So my three-song rotation right now, so random. It's like this song by like 50 Cent called Lil Bit. Also, I love UK rap, so I'm really into SD Kid. His music is really good, as well as like who else? I'm a Central Sea lover. I love his music. He's really good. So I feel like right now it's like that, as well as like Tame Impala's new album. It's really good. I feel like also Pink Floyd, their music is good. Um, and I like to listen to that in the background while I'm doing stuff. But I'm pretty well rounded in my music.
Do you watch movies? What's your favorite movie or show of all time?
I'm actually a really big movie lover. I have a notes in my notes app. I have this list of all the movies I've watched, and I like write little um, kind of ratings and like why I like them and why it's inspired me. It's kind of like my own personal letterbox. And I use movies a lot for inspiration, and I feel like how I live my personal life, um, and just overall I think I use it as my kind of like a guidance through how I live my life. Like I have a lot of movie references. That's so vague, but I would say my favorite movie of all time. It's kind of hard. I feel like I go and I choose between like what am I looking to feel, or like what's a feeling that I want to feel, and then I'll be able to like go to that movie. I don't know if that made sense, but I would say all-time favorite. Let me think. Mm, oh my god, I'm always talking about movies, and now I feel like I don't know. Wait, pause.
No, that's calm. That's
Yeah,
calm.
I'm trying to actually think.
I'm actually gonna have a hard time like talking about my favorite movie or show of all time, so that's totally understandable. Um, but actually, if I was meant to choose one, I think it has to be Stranger Things for some reasons. I don't know. Really amazing show. Um, what school did you go to and what did you study?
Yeah, so for my post-secondary, I went to Blanche McDonald, and I took the fashion marketing and design program. That was a diploma program, so it was a year and a half. Uh, yeah, I actually was going in between like re-going back into school, and I was thinking of getting my bachelor internships in arts, because I feel like what I learned at Blanche about the fashion industry was really like applicable, but I feel like I want to just expand my overall way of thinking more. So I think I might go back into school, um, but I'm not too sure right now. I'm kind of in two minds about it. But to answer the question, it was I went to Blanche McDonald.
Did you have a favorite instructor, and what is one thing you learned from them that you apply in your daily life? That is, if you have a favorite instructor.
Yeah, at Blanche McDonald, I'm pretty sure everybody, I wouldn't say, I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with Peggy. She is a fashion legend in, I would say, Blanche McDonald and overall Vancouver. Her overall, I feel like, demeanor towards fashion and her experience, just when she's teaching in every class, she taught like multiple different classes, um, is just so, I feel like, inspirational. She's lived like so many lives, and I think one of my favorite classes that I was in of hers was her fashion history class. Um, yeah, and I think just because like anybody could teach fashion history, but if you have experience and you actually were there in the time, it's just so much more different. It's like I feel like when somebody's like making something from like a recipe book versus like from their like heart, it's like different, and I feel like that's how she teaches. So I feel like that's how I would want somebody to learn things from me as well.
Peggy sounds like an amazing person, actually. If you could say anything to her right now, what would it be?
um Probably that I'm sorry for always being late to her class, but I always learn so much. Like, I remember once I was like absurdly late and I only had like 30 minutes in her class. And I kid you not, within like the 30 minutes of just that class, I learned so much. And I feel like when I was in high school and just like public school, there was no way, there was no class I'm sitting in 30 minutes of and I was able to really learn things. So I feel like the way she taught, she was just kind of having conversations with people, and like definitely really has changed my viewpoint on how to teach.
Cool. So what are the things you do as a creative?
Yeah, I feel like honestly I do a lot of things as a creative. With that, like, I don't know, I try to do like a lot of different things, and to expand on that, a lot of my close friends don't really aren't really in like the fashion or creative scene, I would say, kind of like how I am. So I feel like hanging out with them and doing things that aren't always, I would say, like looked upon as creative outlets, um, is what I like to do, like going like hiking or like doing things in nature, traveling. My friends like to cook, so I'll like to like watch them while they cook. Um, yeah, what else do I do? Mm, I feel like going out, honestly, and when I say going out, literally just like leaving my home. If that means like going on a walk or like sometimes doing things outside of creating, I feel like is what helps me create. So yeah, yeah.
Earlier you mentioned the name of your brand, Hillsgarments. When was it founded, and can you tell us about Hillsgarments?
Yeah, this is actually really exciting. So Hills Garments, I actually came up with the name. It was during like peak COVID time, so that's like what, 2022 or 21, I guess. Um, and I was working at this shoe store called Journeys, and I remember my coworkers, they were asking me, they're like older than me. They were like, "Oh, like, what are you gonna do after you graduate?" Oh no, I had just graduated from high school. They were like, "Oh, what are you gonna do, like for your post secondary and all this stuff?" And I was telling them, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna like have a brand, do all these things." And they asked me, they're like, "Oh, what's the name of your brand?" And I honestly, I didn't even think about it beforehand, but I remember the first thing off the top of my head, I was like, oh, Hills. And then they're like, why? And I was like, I feel like at the time I was really infatuated with like The Weeknd and like his songs. Or just artists in general, like Travis Scott, The Weeknd, ASAP Rocky. A lot of artists in that 2016 era of time would always mention like the Hills or like Hills and like Beverly Hills. So I feel like I was just like, I fuck with how that sounds. I like that it's super minimal. And it was only like up until recently that I came up with what Hills means to me, which it stands for Hidden in Life's Luxuries. So that came to me literally while I was in the shower. Actually, a lot of my, like, I would say ideas that I like hold dear to my heart come to me in the shower. So yeah, and then from there I was like, once I understood what it meant to me, I kind of was able to start creating for Hills without it just being like a name that I'm saying.
Shania, you have a really special portfolio, and I just wanted to say, on Hillsgarments website, it says that each garment is created from second-hand fabrics and hand-sewn. That's really cool. Um, there's a saying that goes, "Working with our hands reminds us of the pace life was meant to move." And Richard Sennett in The Craftsman talked about how working with the hands teaches patience, attention, and time. What do you think about that relating to your practice as a designer?
Yeah, well, first off, that's really nice that you went through all my work and read that everything is handmade. Um, I think with what you did say is often when we do manufacture and go through larger processes, I feel like sometimes we can lose the craft, like craftsmanship. So I feel like with me making all the garments like handmade, you really get to feel like my intention that's going into it. Um, yeah, and I think, yeah, I feel like I'm able to put more of myself into my art since I'm like working so closely with it that way.
Let's talk about Hughes Garment collection, starting with Nova Star. You've done quite a number of creative shoots with this collection, featuring both male and female designs.
Yeah.
When did this collection come out, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Okay, wow. I'm like wowed that obviously I know you did your research on me, but that you're saying these collections out loud is like making me in awe. But yeah, so for the Nova Stars collection, I've been working on this collection for a while. Like I would say back in like 2020, so when I first made my like prototype of the Nova Star top. But I wasn't really confident in my ability to create or sharing my art with people. So I feel like I kind of just like pushed it aside. But the inspiration really is just Nova itself means like I think death in Japanese, or correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like just like the stars and like having it be, I don't know, I feel like I'm just really in tune with how stars kind of like react in space. So I feel like having it on my garments is kind of just like a representation of like stars being forever in a sense. Not actually forever, but I don't know. I feel like that's kind of my way of like my art lasting, if that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense actually. Um, Another collection I wanted to talk about is Patches. Great collection, by the way. So what's the inspiration behind Patches, and when did it come out as well?
So patches actually, I would say I came up with when I think it had to have been like 2023. I had thought of the idea, but I was like, you know what? I don't really have the. I didn't think I was really um, applicable or kind of had the resume to act on my ideas. So I like again, I pushed this idea aside, didn't do anything about it, and then it came to me actually in the shower. I thought of the whole concept of the short film that I did with it. Um, and I kind of like the aspect of how for patches you're able to take it on and off of your clothes. I feel like often we think we need to consume more, meaning like buying more clothes or like getting the newest thing, when it's like using your pre-loved items that you already have and really wearing it to its core kind of is what makes it special. So I feel like using the patches, you're able to kind of just transfer one thing to another. And I don't know, I feel like that idea of being adaptable, especially nowadays when everything's so fast, um, patches for me is just being able to showcase how you can change without it being so like such a drastic thing. Hence why you're able to take the patches on and off the clothes. Yeah.
Your creative direction and styling in your shoots, especially your short films, really stood out to us. Um, for patches, it says a concept of adaptability and being involved in the process of change. And for your second short film, it says that's not how you read that actually. It says an interpretation of clothing and an ideology of how garments can be interpreted in more than one form. We are going to play these short films on screen. Also, on Hillsgarments' Instagram post for patches, the caption says, "The process of turning this initial shower thoughts into a real short film will forever be engraved in my heart and beyond grateful for the trust and open-mindedness of everyone involved." And you mentioned how you come up with most of your ideas in the shower.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting to me. I want you to walk us through how you come up with these ideas, like the process. I mean, like it's in your shower, right? And how you actually bring it to life. Because most of these thoughts, it's, oh, I'm like thinking about it right now, but we don't actually act on it, right? So we want to know how you actually bring them to life, like the process behind that. And what's it like bringing people on board to be a part of this project?
Yeah, so I feel like for me, because I actually, before I go to sleep, I always listen to meditations. And in the guided meditations that I do listen to, they always kind of talk about visualizing, I would say, kind of like things that I want to desire. So I feel like a common theme when I have been thinking of what I want to desire is I always try to kind of like manifest into my subconscious and my conscious just ideas, like creativity flowing into my mind. So it kind of sounds crazy, but when I am sleeping and am in like that REM sleep, I feel like my ideas in my brain are just flowing with random ideas, and like I kind of see random like movie clips or like random like pieces of art, and I feel like my brain just kind of is in this space of like creating without having boundaries. And then how this kind of translates, I feel like sometimes is when I am in the shower. Obviously, I don't really listen to music or anything. I just like shower, and I feel like it's a form of meditation because it's just me, my thoughts, and I feel like while I'm always in the shower, I'm just having literal ideas pop into my head, kind of like how when I'm about to go to sleep. Um, so I feel like I often will have, especially for the patches idea, that was a concept. My friend Dryden, who's the main character in that short film, he has these insane grills, and he had actually posted an Instagram story of just him like smiling with his grills. And when I was in the shower, I was just like, I seen his grills, and I was like, huh. I was like, wait, that's sick. And then I thought about my patches, how they're like transitional, about how he can take his grills out, and I was like putting two and two together, and I started to literally, I'll close my eyes when I'm in the shower, and I'll kind of just like let this sounds crazy saying it out loud, but I'll let like the shower water like hit me, and I feel like that is kind of the ideas flowing into my head. It sounds absurd, but I feel like it's worked for me, because all my thoughts and my ideas that are big have been this way. um, but apart from that process, I would say, going back to what you asked me of how I kind of select a team of people, a lot of the people that I've worked with have actually reached out to me and have kind of expressed their admiration and curiosity in my work and how I do work. So I feel like off the bat, sometimes with this project specifically, I went with people who I already knew were interested and open-minded in who I am and what I want to create. I feel like for the first time when I was working on the That's Not How You Wear That short film, I hadn't worked with anybody. So I feel like expressing my ideas were a bit out of my comfort zone, which I've grown into, but I feel like for this, the Patches collection, everyone already having a preconceived notion of how I work and my style in creating, I kind of already knew that they would trust me, which made me even more comfortable expressing my idea to its full vulnerability and like bar for bar what I thought it was. Um, yeah, I feel like it just like overall, you start to like trust yourself more, and like with that, it has kind of helped me form who I want to keep around me for certain things. But yeah.
When OFA reached out to you, we discussed the possibility of you working on something new, clutch our timing aligned. You mentioned that you're in the middle of working out the details to a completely new project that you'll be releasing for spring.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it because it's something so different from what I've been doing.
Also, you recorded some BTS footage from that process, which we're going to play now on screen. And afterwards, go down to your workspace.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. I like hope this is not too formal, but anyways, this is my like self-recording of like the portion of me going and like picking fabrics and stuff for the bikinis that I'm working on. I'm really excited because this is the first project of mine that I'm like actually manufacturing and like getting produced in a larger quantity and having like multiples of the same thing. Up until now, all clothes that I've made have been like one of ones. Um, anyways, though, and for this, it's also been really different. I've been doing more digital sketches rather than like hand sketches. But let me show you the vibe of what I'm like going for. I'm really excited. So we're gonna go and pick up fabrics today, do the samples because I just want to make the manufacturing process as clean and like precise as possible just because like from what I've learned from friends and like homies who have brands, it's like your manufacturers can really like sink or swim you. I don't know bro terminology, but so I'm just trying to like really come to them with like exact measurements and shit so they know what the fuck I'm about. Anyways, this is kind of what I'm like, did this shit fucking delete? Anyways, okay. This is what we're going for. So these are these star bikinis that are called Eating Stars for Breakfast. My Eating Stars for Breakfast line. And they're basically like a reversible bikini. So that's gonna be one side, and then this is the other. So today what we're doing is just getting this like I'm really inspired by this like Eve Klein. I think it's just Klein blue, not Eve Klein, but Eve Klein I'm pretty sure did format this blue. Anyways, this color blue, I'm like so attracted to it and I think it just looks good on every skin tone and every body. So I'm just hella excited for this. This is also like some super secret stuff that relates to this. But yeah, I'm also doing like some shorts too. But the shorts, I'm mainly more worried about the bikini just because like shorts could fit anybody and like you could adjust it to fit, but if a bikini doesn't fit, like it just is gonna sit in your closet. Like I want this to be worn and I want it to be like on the bodies of baddies who like I don't know are stars. So yeah, that's my vision for that. I'll also show kind of like I guess that's all I'll show for now. I don't really know how they're gonna chop up this footage.
Two noodles for me. I hope they are hungry.
Oh, you gave it to my mom?
No, I put it in the bed. It doesn't look like this. She will open it.
But that's the thing. Okay, so we're at Fabric Land right now, and we found this fabric. And it's pretty similar to like the Klein blue that we're trying to do. So I think we'll end up picking up this fabric and then make the sample out of it. Yeah. So that's what we've come here to do, guys. Pretty similar to the color.
Yeah.
I think on the sides we should use the blue. Okay, guys, I'm here to say that things generally do not always go as planned, and once you learn the art of detachment to outcomes, your life will flow so much better. Pure example is so I thought that by the end of this BTS that I would have the samples of these bikinis done. boy, I bit off more than I could chew, so I thought, because we were looking at patterns online, and then I was just like, I just don't feel like it's authentic if we do it this way. So we formed our completely own new pattern, obviously looking at the shape of another pre-loved bikini that I had, but we only used that as the sample for one cup size, which is the cup size I wear, and then from there we anyways we custom made our own pattern, and we like the work it took for this, it was like 4 hours, and you might be thinking, holy shit, only 4 hours to make a fucking bikini pattern. But like the thing is my math skill is not there. So, and like to make it, like I just really want these to fit and like be worth it. Like I just don't want people to buy this shit because they fuck with me or whatever. I want people to buy this shit because they fuck with it and they want to wear it and they like it, you know? Like I want this to be a lasting thing. So I really did pour in my time to making this as precise and as diligently as I could. So this is the extra small. Oh wait, sorry. This is the small and extra small in here, and then medium, and then XL and large. And like the mathing and precision we went into this was so much detail. We didn't even get to make the bottoms. like holy fuck. And then we were basing it off of like these cup sizes, and then we also had to cut the cups. There was just a lot more technicality and work that went into it than I had anticipated, which I honestly like sometimes when it is like that. Like I don't realize, if you were to have told me it was going to take me this much work, I think I would have been like, fuck, I don't know if I could do that. But yeah, anyways, so we don't have any actual hard copies of the samples. We only have the patterns. But I guess you'll just have to wait and see how we do with everything else. But yeah, I've been speaking to the manufacturers about things, and I'm gonna have all the samples and stuff done hopefully before the end of January, and then I'll have everything sent and shipped out by February time, and then hopefully I can get samples by before like March. This is not the color I'm aiming to do. I'm aiming to do Klein blue, but this is the closest shade they had. I'm trying to do a blue like this. See this? It's a little similar, but this is more on the purpley side. Like, I like this shade. And this shade on all skin tones, like this is beautiful as well. This is like electric, but this is like romantic, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of how my day went. I don't even know how they're gonna use this footage or if I'm gonna personally use it, but yeah, we just did some samples. We just did some samples. Or I mean, fuck, man. Patterns.
So we are now at Shania's workspace where she makes designs for Hillsgarments. How was it creating your first ever project in this space?
I feel like creating in this space has been really different compared to my other spaces, because when I've been creating in this space, I feel like I've been more in tune with my like confidence in my artwork. So this space has allowed me to create the Nova Hills collection, and all the garments that I've made for this collection have been like on my ground, and like cutting the pieces have been on my bed. So I feel like when I am making these clothes, it's very much a piece of my workspace and like kind of the environment that I am in. So I feel like this room in its whole has made me more confident in creating for the Nova Hills.
So, eating stuff for breakfast line.
Mm-hmm.
In the BTS footage that you sent, you mentioned that up to now, all of your designs are one of one, and now you're working with manufacturers and making multiple pieces. That sounds really huge. First of all, what does that mean for Hillsgarments?
Yeah, so I feel like up until now, like I said, is I was doing everything in hand and like in my room and it being one of one. But I feel like sometimes with things being so niche or like for example, I'm only making one size, a lot of people sometimes aren't that size. So there's been so many people who have wanted garments from me, but it's not their size or something like that. So with the eating stars for breakfast line that I am working on, I feel like I am like cutting and sewing all the patterns myself, so it still does have that like feeling that it is made by me. I'm being so um, kind of like diligent with like the patterns and how everything's gonna fit, but I just want more people to have access to my creative vision. So even like I feel like with how the design is going to be reversible, like stars on one side, just like strong coloring on the other side. I feel like it'll still allow that like one of one feeling because you can have one side or the other, and I feel like it'll still embody what Nova Hills was, but it being allowed for more people to have. Um, yeah.
That's amazing. Um, so what inspired eating stuff for breakfast line? Like the fact that it's bikinis, um, and how are you navigating the worry you have that the bikinis might not fit everyone compared to the shorts that you're also making, which can be adjusted to fit, like you said. I know it's very important to you that people actually rock it and it doesn't just sit in their closet.
Yeah, so again, with the bikinis, I think because all the clothes before that I was making were made from like secondhand garments that already had a size to it, I was always working around the sizing that the garment was. Whereas when I do make things just for myself, I don't even need to measure or anything because I know my body sizing. But for these, I kind of when I was in the process, you probably saw in the BTS, what was supposed to take me a day of just like cutting patterns and like sewing the garment, having patterns that I wanted to show you guys, took me like 8 hours of just being so articulate in making one pattern. And that was just for like the smalls and the extra smalls. It's just because like I want the garments to fit exactly how they should. Um, and it being like something like bikinis, you want baddies to feel like baddified and like you want them to feel super confident. So I feel like that's why I kind of still want to have that aspect of me making the patterns and not just like giving out measurements and having some random manufacturer make it. So I feel like that's kind of my way of making sure that I know it'll fit everyone. Um, yeah, and hence kind of going back to what you asked me about where I was inspired from it. Honestly, going back to my grills, like my grills have like the star in it, and I feel like stars for me have been such a big concept in my kind of confidence. I feel like kind of dim my like starness and my like light, but I feel like stars for me have been a very beautiful concept to be like they just shine regardless. So I feel like with the bikinis, I want anybody who does wear it to kind of feel that like I'm a star, like stars for breakfast, stars waking up. You should internalize it. So I feel like that's kind of where I've come up with it.
That sounds really good. I'm also very I I'm very like excited of what it's called eating stuff for breakfast. It just sounds so good.
Thank you.
There was a part in the BTS where you mentioned some super secret stuffs.
I did. That's funny.
I want to know so bad what those secret stuffs are about. But wait, if it's like a secret recipe type thing, then you don't have to say it. You could just keep it a secret still. So
Yeah, I won't spill too much about the super secret stuff, but I have a really cool video idea that I want to release with the bikinis, as well as I did mention I am working on shorts as well. So I feel like the shorts will kind of be the super secret stuff along with the video. But the bikinis are a thing for sure that I definitely want to say out loud and people know that I am going to be doing that. But super secret stuff, some things you got to keep secret. So even like
okay,
a lot of my projects, I like keep it so hush. And even this, I feel like me saying the bikinis out loud, it's like now I actually have to do it. Now it's like, you know, so I like to hold myself accountable, but keeping all the sauce a little bit.
things do not generally always go as planned. And once you learn the art of detachment to outcomes, your life will flow so much better. I like you saying that so much.
That was me. I said
that,
that.
is, that is so true. I personally think everyone should learn that for the life to flow a whole lot better. It's good that you learned that. We are excited to see Eating Stuff a Breakfast Line when it eventually comes out. When you're trying to start a new project for Hillsgarments, say a new design or a new collection, have there been times you experience creative block? When that happens, how do you go about it?
Yeah, I feel like as a creative, a lot of people do go through creative block, myself as well. Um, and I think that's the thing that I've learned to kind of throw the mantra of like, even if things don't go as you want, once you learn like the detachment of outcome, things kind of flow. So I feel like now I've learned to kind of like embrace the creative block when I am like I'm not able to think about things. I just kind of am like, okay, right now my brain needs to rest, and like the creative ideas will come. And I feel like in order for me to sometimes get over creative block, I like to like watch movies. I watch a lot of music videos, so I feel like I'll just like binge a bunch of music videos to see different ways of creating. Um, and I feel like that overall just inspires kind of collections and like, yeah. I also work a lot of random jobs, so I feel like having the random jobs helps me gain perspective of just different ways of living, and I feel like that also affects how I create and my creative block.
So, what impression do you want people to have when they come across your designs?
I feel like when people come across my designs, I don't really want them to have any sort of preconceived impression or anything. I kind of just want them to kind of just look at it and be like, whoa, she just made something she wanted to make. I feel like with my artwork, even if you like it or you don't like it, or you understand it or you don't understand it, it's just art. Like I feel like I do it, like for me, even if people never wanted to buy anything I made, as long as I genuinely really liked it and people were to look at it and be like, oh, she likes what she makes. That's all I really care about. So I feel like there's no really impression I want to come across with my art except that it's authentic to me.
I can see how much passion you have for what you do. I'm curious, what's your personal definition of art?
That's a really good question. I feel like art is anything. What I've learned throughout the years is I remember before I wouldn't consider myself an artist because I would think, oh, you need to paint. And that was my main form of art. And that's all I thought about art as. But the more I went to art galleries and traveled and looked at different art, I realized art is everything, um, especially films, the way they articulate just like stories through visual moving pictures. That is art. Like even architecture and like especially like places like Italy and like London, just like kind of this old feeling that they capture there. I feel like yeah, I know I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, I think art is anything honestly, and it's as personable as the person making it. So you really don't need to be an artist to create. Even a really good painter named Sloan from London, he says himself that he paints like a 3-year-old. So he himself, I feel like art is anything you want it to be. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite piece from your past or present work?
Yeah, I do. And it's like recently made.
Cool. So why is it your favorite?
I think it's my favorite piece because it's my first pair of pants that I've ever made, as well as using the motif of the Nova Hills stars, which is like with the pins. Um, the pants itself, I've never actually I have done pants before. I'm wearing a pair of my like first ever Nova Star pants, but I didn't include the pins on this one. So these are my first pair that have the pins, and I feel like I've seen it modeled on like a few people, and it just looks good on anybody who wears it. Like even myself, I'm like 5'2", and the pants look good on me. I had it modeled on somebody that was like 6 foot something, looks so good on them. But yeah, I feel like this to me is just really special because it's just like, I mean, everything's a one of one, but I don't know. It's just my favorite because I personally would wear it all the time.
So this is the piece we actually archived. Can you sign your autograph on this piece for OFA archives?
Okay, so this is a collection of a bunch of garments that I've made for Hillsgarments. And going back to how I was saying what my favorite piece was, these are the Nova Star sweatpants that I've made that are really dear to my heart. But as for the piece that I'll be putting in the OFA archive, it's gonna be this Nova Star polo tee. Yeah, I'm really excited. There it is, guys. Ah!
How's the journey of being a designer or fashion brand owner been so far?
I feel like it's been a very up and down process. Kind of like a roller coaster is my analogy of it. I feel like for a long time I've had Hills in mind, but I didn't really know what it meant to me and who I was creating for. So I feel like before in the past, I was always creating for what would people want, what would people like to buy, what would people this. And I never really was thinking, what does Shania like? What does Shania want to have in a brand? So I feel like now I'm at this higher point in Hills where it is an extension of who I am and where I want to be. So I feel like as a designer, once you stop making for kind of the like praise of others, you really become in tune with why you're creating. So I feel like for me, I've gotten to that point where I'm just creating for me. Yeah, so I feel like just a designer and a creator as a whole, it's a very up and down process, but it's just kind of right now I'm at a stage in my life where I feel really confident in what I'm doing. So I feel like it just is going to be able to show through in Hills. Yeah.
That's great. That's really great. Where do you see yourself and Hillsgarments in the future?
That's a good question. I feel like for Hills, I have a really big plan for it. I really want to extend it out into like having different pop-ups in places like Complex Con and like little mini booths somewhere in like London or like vintage markets. Overall though, I just really want it to be a way for me to express my art. So for example, I am coming out with my Eating Stars for Breakfast line that are bikinis, but I don't want it just to be a bikini brand. I just want it to be anything I'm feeling at the time or that I'm infatuated in fashion that I'm putting out. So I don't really know where I want it to be in 5 years' time, but I do know from now until 5 years, I would like for it to be in different places. A common theme I've been saying in some of my videos that include the Nova Star Tops is that the Nova Star Tops take you anywhere. So I feel like that's just kind of what I've done with Hills, is I want to be able to pack it up and take it with me everywhere because it will take me everywhere. So yeah, I don't really know exactly where I want it in 5 years, but I know I want it everywhere.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to see how Hillsgarments like do in the future. I could tell for a fact it's gonna do great. We see you have your friend around. It'll be really cool to have them be a part of this documentary and ask them one or two questions about your work. Hello,
Hi,
how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. What's your name?
Maya.
Nice to meet you, Maya. We're very excited to have you around. We just want to ask one or two questions about Shania's practice as a designer. With Shania to you, how long have you guys known each other for? And is there a story of how you guys met?
Oh God. Shania is my best friend. I've known her for like,
I think like
I don't know, 9
9 years,
something
now?
like that.
Something like
We
that.
met at a party in high school.
Yeah, that was,
Not much else to that story.
we can't expose ourselves
Close
too
friends,
much.
very fast.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's your perspective on Shania's work? I mean, as a creative and a designer and also the founder of Hillsgarments.
I mean, I'm not very creative. I don't create anything really. So I think it's super inspiring what Shania does. It's like very different from my day to day. So I think it's super cool. And she teaches me a lot.
That sounds really good. You just said you're not creative at all. What do you mean by that?
Oh. I mean, I'm more like analytical. I'm like a student and I work with children. So I'm creative when I work with kids in a different way, but not in the way she is creative. So
I feel like she still is creative in her own way. Like,
yeah.
it may not be in the, what's it called? I actually have brought Maya on set before with me to help me do a project.
I was her assistant.
She was my assistant
Yeah.
for the day, but I feel like we're able to like, I don't know, like I feel like we can like create stuff together, but
We have good balance.
we
like
have good
I'm more
balance.
like, yeah. I don't know.
I feel like it works in that.
Yeah. But I don't feel like creative in the sense where I like create anything. But I'm like creative in the way I think, I guess. But not like art
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah, because she does psychology. She's in
Yeah.
school for psychology. So I feel like psychology is an art form in itself too. So yeah.
Okay.
That sounded good actually. I personally think everyone is like creative in whatever they do, especially when you said you're more analytical. Was that what you said? I don't remember the word, but yeah. Where do you see Shania's brand Hillsgarments in the future? Like, what kind of hopes do you have for Hillsgarments based on the work she's been putting in?
I think Shania will do like great things. I mean, I may be biased because I'm her best friend, but I think Shania is like, she has like the professionalism to take her far, and like obviously she's like talented and like very creative, and all of her work is great. But I think she is like, she sets herself apart with her professionalism and like her worldview. I think she takes into account everybody, which is like super important when expanding. So I think she'll go far. Yeah.
We've brought her in here today, guys, to say really nice things about
Yeah,
me.
they're paying me well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense why you guys are actually best friends.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I feel like we work in the sense we just understand each other's.
Yeah, our minds meet.
Mind.
Okay, that will be all. Thank you so much for for like being a part of this. I think it's really cool the way the universe works. Sometime in 2023, I met you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember. Oh
I
yeah,
remember that.
I was
How do you
working.
remember
I was
that?
working at a fashion store downtown in
Yeah.
Pacific Center. Do you remember?
That's so funny. At Joe, was it Joe something? Not Joe something. Fuck, what's that store called?
Jack and Jones.
Jack and Jones.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't believe you remember that. I thought that was just a vague memory for me. That's so funny.
Yeah. So we talked a bit, and
Mhm.
I feel like you were the most chill person I had spoken to that day. And just before
This
you
is
left,
crazy.
we had like a little bit of conversation where you told me that you just graduated from your fashion school, and I
Yeah.
was so excited for you. I think it's super crazy that we did not get to talk, and let's say like 2 years later we are choosing a documentary about you being a designer and owning a fashion brand.
It is really wild because you know what? This whole time I had this interaction in my head. I'm like, you definitely don't remember this interaction. So I was like playing it like, okay, cool, whatever. And then it's wild because we just intertwined at that the other thing that you guys were doing with the fashion archive with
Yeah.
the clothes and
Yeah.
all that. And then
Yeah. And
Life
then
is
I met
wild.
you at the shoot
at
again.
Fashion Week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, I would never. If you were to have told me that day when we met each other in Jack and Jones,
Yeah.
like whatever 3 years from now, we'll be right here. I would have been like, no. I would have been like, that's crazy. So this is crazy. That's wild. Wow.
How do you feel about this whole documentary?
I feel really right about it. Like I feel like you guys you are capturing me in a really like important time right now, and I feel like the timelines could not have aligned better. Like especially with me going into this next step of like learning to work with manufacturers and taking Hills to the next step, you're really just capturing it in its prime. And I feel like I'm going to be so grateful, and I am so grateful for this opportunity, because I've really been wanting people to be able to get a feel of who I am and kind of why I'm creating, and also just for people to like look back at this, and for me to look back at this and just realize that literally anybody can do anything, especially women in creative fields. I feel like often aren't spoken about enough. So yeah, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to have people around me that are willing to hear what I want to say. Yeah.
Leave a message for your future self.
Ooh. I think a message for my future self would be just to go for it and not to think too much. I think often in the past, what has stopped me is just overthinking or overanalyzing. And I realize sometimes when I just act on my intuition and just acting out of sometimes being scared is when you have to jump. So I feel like just do it and do it scared. Yeah, I think that's my message for my future self. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Amazing. So this brings us to the end of this film. Our fashion archive wishes you the best in all you do with Hillsgarments. You're a star, and we're very happy to have crossed paths in your journey.
This makes me so exciting. Are we group hugging?
Yes.
It's just a singular hug, guys.
Come in.
It's like,
That's great.
oh, we're group hugging, guys.
Yes.
Yay!
So happy.
Wait, keep it recording because I need to dab. Get it on.
Okay.
Get it on me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Are we
let's
on
do
that?
it. 1, 2, go.
Hey! Hard.
And that is it. And I don't think we're taking that part again. Like that is it.
Yeah.